Jennifer is a young ballerina who one day receives a strange phone call from her mother. The woman berates her daughter without letting her get a word in, and then shoots herself in the head. Jennifer, accompanied by her boyfriend Stuart, travels to her mother's hometown of Sutcliffe, where they find themselves in the midst of a mysterious epidemic that began after an earthquake. Some of the town's residents have started behaving erratically, no longer guided by social norms or moral codes, but by their deepest desires. Paranoid epidemic thrillers are among the most effective strains of the genre, tracing their lineage back to the first adaptation of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Such films build suspense around the invisibility of the threat. A person may look exactly the same as always, yet be fundamentally changed inside, and you won't know they're infected until they stab you in the back. Invasion of the Body Snatchers went through several remakes, one of which incidentally starred Meg Tilly from Impulse, and the idea continued to evolve. In David Cronenberg's Shivers, people were altered by parasites. In The Crazies, by a military-engineered virus. Impulse fits perfectly into this lineage. It's a sci-fi thriller in which the filmmakers attempt to explore what would happen if people killed off their inner censor. It's a compelling and fairly ambitious concept, because the film doesn't paint all the infected with the same brush. This isn't just an army of rabid zombies destroying everything in their path. Some people start stealing, some killing, some act out their perverse sexual urges, while children turn to games that are maximally dangerous to those around them. Impulse cost its creators $10 million, though that money doesn't really show on screen. The film is modest in scope even during the earthquake sequence, and it lacks top-tier stars. According to director Graham Baker, the script was written as a straightforward horror film, but in Baker's staging it plays more like a psychological drama in which suspense builds gradually. That approach would have made perfect sense if the filmmakers had rewarded the audience's patience with a powerful climax, but for some reason the final act of Impulse turns out to be the weakest. Instead of forcing the protagonist to overcome obstacles and fight for their lives, Baker cuts the engine and sits down beside his characters to stare sadly into the distance. This doesn't mean Impulse lacks an ending. Character arcs are wrapped up more or less and the questions get answered, but there's no emotional catharsis. The dense atmosphere of anxiety dissipates as if someone accidentally cracked a window, and the hard-won momentum drains into empty inertia. Tim Matheson and Meg Tilly in the lead roles never get the chance to unleash what's been building inside their characters all film long, and you're left with a thought that flickers here but is never fully explored. If a person goes against society, how can you tell whether they're infected or have consciously chosen to ignore all the rules of polite behavior? And does the difference even matter? One of those cases where the film might have benefited from a remake by someone bolder and more radical.